Welcome to Season 4 of Soccer Over Gotham, an NWSL podcast covering New Jersey, New York, Gotham FC, hosted by Ruby Pinto and produced by Gary Gibson. Welcome to episode 108 of Soccer Over Gotham. This is the Olympic send-off episode. We have a great show for all of you. Gary, what do we have in this episode?
Gotham scores 2 goals. The bad news is the second one was a tragic second half own goal that allowed Seattle to steal a point on a hot and muggy send-off match in Harrison. Gotham has scored 7 goals in the month of June, which means it was a very successful pride raiser. We'll give the updates. We have national team call-ups. We also got the fan vote for the hero of the month of June. We will cover this insane ending of this match as well. Then we haven't done this in a while. But here we are again. We will talk about some accusations thrown out about the culture over there in San Diego. Then we'll look forward to our game this weekend against Angel City, Gotham C. And our guest tonight is none other than Olympian Jenna Nighswonger. We talk about her motivations, what drives her, about her teammates helped her become the player that she is. It was a really good interview. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. But first, Super Team, how are you?
Woo! We're finally back together, all of us 3. Yay!
Yes.
That's amazing. That's awesome. We have better weather now. And I just ate Chick-fil-A, so I'm like in a good mood. And also like kind of like ready just for a nap.
I was telling Gary, I just took a nap, so I was like, I needed to get all my like nerves out and like just rest a little bit before we came on.
Yeah, I got my 2 classes. I got A's in both classes, perfect scores all the way through. So I'm excited about that. I got a new semester starting already, so I'm not too happy about that, but I'm in it. And then I want to shout out the New York Liberty. They are 17-3, and they're off to their best start through 20 games in franchise history. Well done, ladies. You guys are awesome. Let's give a Pride Raiser update. Shout out to Cloud9, the best supporters in the business. They have, so for the Pride Raiser this month ended July 1st, and they raised $753 pledged per goal, and there were 7 goals, so they got pledges of $5,275, which is awesome for the month. And overall, Cloud9 has raised $27,595.20 to date through the Pride Raiser, which is just incredible. Well done.
That's crazy. I guess we made up for last year. Last year wasn't that great.
Yeah, I was beginning to think Gotham was homophobic, not scoring goals in the month of June. But yeah, hero of the month of June, there was only 2 because I looked at the heroes of the games, and it was always like one player would have a good game and then not show up for another couple of games, and so it was a couple of like almost heroes, but the ones that showed up the most were Lavelle and Berger, and right now Berger is winning over Lavelle. Do you guys agree?
Kind of hard because they're both different positions, so I feel like they're heroes in their own way.
I think it was like fitting, to be honest, just in terms of like Berger's like taking kind of the team by storm and really like being able to like fully like ingrain herself in the team, and just some of her stats that I was looking at, because I know we're going to talk about it later that she got called up for the Germany team, but her save statistics, I think she has the best least amount of goals allowed on her percentage as well out of all the goalies in the league, and she's just come up big, and like, and this past game of course, but like our recent games in July too, so awesome. Shout out to Lavelle as well, though. She's been doing incredible things too, though.
Yes, since this past couple of games, Lavelle she's leveled up, every time she's got on the field, and she's just getting better and better. It's a shame that we're losing her for the Olympics because she is impressive right now, and I think she ended the month very strong. So I can see why she would be very high in the ratings here, but I do go with Berger. I think she's been amazing since she's been here. As we were just talking about, as named to the Germany roster for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Good for her.
I mean, like Noela said, like she has incredible numbers right now, stats, so it would be crazy that she wouldn't be called for Germany in this Olympics.
And I think she's a veteran for the team too, like just being called up recently, and I know she's also going to be playing in the Euro qualifiers pretty soon as well, so it's I think an exciting time. I hope she's enjoying it and she's excited because it's going to be a full summer for her.
Yeah, she better enjoy it. We're not, because we're gonna miss her here at Gotham.
She's refound herself with this club, and she's been amazing. And it's good that she's been able to show that she's still one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And I'm just really happy for her. On the other side, Brunina was not called into the Brazilian national team, which is a bummer.
It is a bummer because we had seen her with the Brazilian team before, and I think she did well. We haven't seen her play much with Gotham, so that's not surprising that she's not going to the Olympics, because she hasn't had any or much playing time to merit for her to go to the Olympics. She's going to be useful here during the Olympics with Gotham.
Yeah, and it's tough too with the Brazil team because their wingback position is so like competitive. I know they called up Antonia Tamires and Yasmin, so it's like all veteran players. Like they have like extensive experience, and I know they've just been, I think, performing better at like club level. Like Tamires has scored, I believe, has scored 2 goals for Corinthians this season so far. So it's, I think, like Ruby said, like it's just the production at club level kind of certifies that ability to be called up.
It's a shorter roster, and you prioritize veterans who know how to win, right? So she's got a bright future. She'll be back. She'll be back very, very soon. This game this past weekend was ridiculous. So let's talk about it. And Gotham was fresh off their first loss in the Anberger era, and Gotham is looking to take care of a bottom-feeding team such as the Reign. And the Reign are in a bit of a weird place for a team that has been, I guess, as successful as they have been. I mean, 13th place with only 2 wins on the season is pretty rough. I mean, they lost Rose, Emily, and Pinto this offseason. And I've been saying this, they just really didn't bring anybody in. That they just got sold to the Sounders, so maybe there's some help on the way there. They have not won a game since May 3rd, so that plays into our favor. And this is my favorite part of the entire game, is the availability report, which is much shorter than we're used to. A total of 7 players on there. This is the healthiest this team has been in a long while. And of the 7, 3 are season-ending injuries, so we know about them. And then Yaz is suspended for a game, so that's not a health reason. And so, so we only had Esther and Kelly O'Hara on the injury list, essentially, which isn't bad. Any thoughts getting a healthier Gotham?
I mean, I'm so glad to see this list get shorter and shorter, and hope it gets even shorter as the weeks go by. Definitely going to need some backup while the Olympics are going on. Well, most likely, Esther, if she feels better, she's going to go to the Olympics with Spain. Kelly, I don't know about Kelly. Her last interview, she kind of said that, her knee is bad and in pain. So then we have Ryan. I missed Ryan in this last game. She's been doing so many great things for Gotham lately that her absence was clearly it was there for me.
I was happy to see Mandy Freeman get another start on the fullback position. She played great versus the Spirit last week, and she rightfully gets the starting position this week, and she had a strong game, I thought, as well, projecting upwards, solidifying that defensive line. So happy for her.
Freeman was back in the back line, and then there's Sonnet, Davidson, and Nighswonger completing the back line. This was a very national team heavy roster again. Berger in goal, Lopez, Dunn, Lavelle, Sheehan, and Stengel in the midfield, then Stevens up top. Pretty strong lineup. Ruby, what do you think?
Yeah, it is a strong lineup. One thing that I thought it was interesting is to see Aitane a little bit higher up the pitch. But before she played with Gotham, that was pretty much her comfortable position where she used to play in her last club. When she came to Gotham, she was playing a little more back in defense. So I think that was a little interesting to see. Usually Martin is there. But now we have Maitane, she's healthy again. So she's there. Our offense, pretty good there. Dunn, LaBelle, Stevens, Stengel. Even though we haven't seen a goal from Stengel this season, I think she's a great player.
Yeah, I was going to agree that her performance also in the Spirit last week also, I think, rightfully earns her that position out on the left. And seeing Ella Stevens, of course, back up top was great for the team, I think, overall, just because she's such a great target player to reach for, and she produces so many opportunities on goal. So really happy to see them together on the field.
I think one of the most interesting things about this first half is how compressed the field was for most of it. Like if you take the distance of like the center circle, like that's about how far these teams like back lines were from each other at times. It was a lot of chaos with the teams just trying to go back and forth and between the wings to try to find some kind of space. It was crazy. Obviously, it led to a lot of interceptions and turnovers, and neither team could really grab hold of the game early. Gotham gets about 80% passing accuracy, which is pretty low for this team. It was just a weird half. And then, like, every time it seemed Gotham was getting forward, it was ended in a corner and really not much else. Seattle had 20 clearances to Gotham's 3 in the first half. So it was pretty one-way traffic, and Gotham had 7 corners in total. I mean, other than that, I mean, it was 0-0 at halftime.
Yeah, I think for the first few minutes Gotham was playing well, and I don't know what happened after that. Like you said, both teams were they were not able to get a hold of the game, and the passing not their best in this game for Gotham. 2 weeks ago, we talked about how great they were passing, how great they were playing, and it was the best we've seen. So I don't know if the loss shook them or the fact that it was really hot out there. I don't know what was going on that day with Gotham, but I guess it was just not their game. I think they need to start passing the ball with intention. Another thing that I saw was with Berger, another of her unusual passes to the opponent's feet. That was bad. Thank God they didn't score. They had a lot of corners in the first half, like you mentioned. Unfortunately, they were not able to, take advantage of those opportunities and to go ahead and just get some goals there from those corners. But as we know, Gotham and corners, it's not their forte.
I will say on the flip side, defensively, I was like content with the way they were managing to shut down the effectiveness of Seattle's attacks. I know around our center backs, especially, and our fullbacks, Freeman and Nighswonger, did a really good job tracking runners and making sure players weren't completely open for shots. I know there was one play around the 7th or 8th mark where King kind of like cuts in and she is able to get a shot off, but she's just enough like pressured and kind of like pushed off a little bit to the side where like Berger is able to make the save. And I forget the minute mark, but Balser also had a pretty clear shot on goal from a great pass from G that she kind of like splits our like center backs, but they're positioned well enough where she is enough to the right of the keeper, and she's like kind of like stuck in like a weird like, oh, do I go for the far post? Can I shoot the front post? And I think that moment of like hesitation kind of played in favor of our luck and being able to maintain a 0-0 scoreline into the half.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. And also, I just have to remark on the humidity of the game. It was crazy because like we were there like last week and it was like 95 and it was cool. It was fine. It was calm. But this game was like 80 something, 85 degrees, but like it just pulled every ounce of like water out of your body. It was so humid. So I was just expecting a lot of cramps on the field. And wow, I remember running in that humidity. It's not fun, even if you're used to it.
Are they running or are they swimming?
Pretty much. So I think the best moment of the half was Rose nearly chipping Dickey from near half. I think it was audacious, but it almost made it. Going into halftime, we get Martin for Lopez. Then there's a lot more, I'd say, urgency and energy to start the second half. Gotham goes pretty much route one on a gorgeous goal sequence. Berger plays the ball forward. She plays it near midfield. Stengel knocks it down, finds Jenna, who plays just this amazing ball over the top that spins around both defenders. Stevens is back behind the back line. She picks her head up. She's in on goal, but she plays unselfishly, finds Rose, who's just streaking in the middle, and she does what you're supposed to do when the keeper and the defender are coming across. Play it back to the near post, and it was just a beautiful goal.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. We know the things Jenna can do, and Jenna was just doing Jenna things out there. That pass was beautiful. Like it was so easy for Ella to grab the ball, and like you said, she selfishly just gave it to LaBelle, and you can see the Reign defender and the goalkeeper quickly go toward the far post, and LaBelle just like calmly gets the ball, kicks the ball with the inside of her foot to the other post. And yeah, that was a great goal. Right after that, we see a different Gotham attacking more, creating more chances. Unfortunately, it didn't end it the way we wanted to.
I think they also benefit from like that one little bounce, right? That like kind of like skips over I believe it's McLernan, and Ellis able to like slip by. But it's great anticipation by her, I think, to just like adjust as well to like, okay, this defender's not gonna be able to reach this ball. It skips over, and she's able to like progress and like so sometimes that like second of like, will it go over, will it not, kind of like determines if you can go and get like a numerical advantage. So it was really, really great. A really great read by Stevens, and then the pass, of course, is excellent.
Yeah, Jenna's doing what she does. It ends in a tragic way. Gotham's pressing forward, and they're still getting the most of the chances. Seattle's really doesn't have much going forward. They get a couple of chances that aren't really dangerous. I'll be said until, I mean, Huerta hits both posts, and Berger makes an incredible comeback save. Then 9 minutes of stoppage time, which I don't think was warranted. I don't know. And then the last kick of the game was a long looping cross in. Neely Martin finds it first, but she tries to push it over the goal, and it goes to the back post, and it goes in. It's 1-1, ends the game. Yikes.
Oh, man. That was tough. And like you said, like, why the hell did they, like, give 9 minutes for? Like, honestly, like, watching the game, I was like, all right, at least I think 4 minutes would have been the max. I don't think 9 minutes, that was a lot. But we also had a lot of, like, Rain players, like injured on the pitch. So I think that's why we got so many minutes. But I think Gotham needs to stop feeling comfortable with the 1-goal lead, because I think after the 1-goal lead, they kind of like let their guards down, and that's not good.
And I don't know why they sort of just like, sometimes I get frustrated with like when teams like go up a goal and like they're kind of just like holding out a game. And it was weird because the whole stoppage time, like I sort of like had this like dreading feeling that like something was going to happen, because even in that like 91st minute, like there's that corner that like it kind of like skips over the first post, it hits off Freeman's thigh, and I thought it was going to be a goal. And Balzer had like another header that kind of goes over just before the own goal. So it's I don't know if it's, I mean, and again, I think this is where like the humidity kind of strikes, where it's like when your concentration is just a little bit off, then like stuff like this can happen.
Yeah. So as we learned, 1 goal just isn't enough, and Gotham rues the days that they didn't put a second goal in earlier, and there was plenty of chances to do so.
Overall, I think they had a slow start. It's not the right direction that they're going. We were going like up, and it feels kind of like we kind of like went down a little, like we took a step back, and we need that Gotham from 2 weeks ago, like back on the pitch. But who knows when we're going to see that Gotham again, because some of these players are leaving for the Olympics. So now it's the time for the players that are staying to step up and show what they have, and maybe even like be a regular starter the remainder of the season.
It's like a draw that feels like a loss, right, Ruby?
Yes, exactly. Oh, stop.
I don't think they'd be happy with like, of course, the end of the game and the product, but I think just the momentum after that first goal was great, and they did have opportunities to go forward and like get shots off on goal. I thought Sheen was also played really well in this game. It's just, I think it's just one of those games where it's unfortunate the way it ends, but they have to pick themselves up and move forward.
Yeah, poor Neely. One of the things I really love about covering like these sports, like you guys know I'm all in on the players that are on the bubble of the roster, and like when Neely entered at halftime, she got a good ovation from the crowd. I know she's a fan favorite, and I'm sure she bleeds this team. I'm sure that's probably a really rough for her. So next time we see Neely Martin, we're gonna have to cheer twice as hard for her.
Yeah, we really do.
Yeah.
She's done a lot for Gotham, like being on goal in the final and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be tough for her.
Yeah, and poor Anne, just unlucky. I mean, it possibly saved Laura Harvey's job for at least a week, possibly.
If that was like a Gotham goal in the opposite like net, that would have been like such a great goal, because like how it went in, like there was no way that Berger was gonna get that ball.
Mhm.
It was a nice goal.
Yeah. I think the moment of the match was the return of Lynn Williams. I mean, what an ovation for her. I mean, she looked great on her return. I'm glad that she's healthy and ready to go. Post game quotes. Jenna Nighswonger on what was spoken about at halftime. She says we needed to be better, like in the first half. Plain and simple, it wasn't good enough, and we needed to bring that energy. So that's what Juan was telling us. I think in the second half we brought a lot more energy. I think that's one of the reasons we got the goal, and that's something I think we need to do on a 90-minute basis, especially in the last 9 minutes of stoppage time.
Yep. I totally agree with Jenna here and the coach. The energy has to be consistent and cannot let their guard down in the last minutes of the game. I am sure they all want to win, but I want to see Gotham be hungrier for more goals. And I know that mistakes happen on the pitch, but you have to like move on and keep playing and again be hungry for those goals.
If they're cognizant of their mistakes, I think they're in a good position where it's like they understand what they did wrong, and I think they're going to come back next week and understand what they have to do. Play the full 90, of course.
Yeah, not to make excuses, but I think the humidity did play a large part in that. I mean, it was rough. It was rough. But I do think that the energy was good for the start of the second half, and they know that. And yeah, so on to the next one, which is Gotham FC forward Lynn Williams on the fans showing out at Red Bull Arena. She said, especially on a hot day. I know it's hot out there for us, but just sitting in the stands, it's hot too. They showed up in this game day in, day out for us. So to be sent off for them is pretty incredible. And again, it was a great moment to see our Olympians get their flowers and get sent off. It was awesome.
I love that they do these kind of things for the players, like it gives you like a little boost to go out there and just kick butt at the Olympics. We have 6 of our players going to Paris and they will be missed. Again, this is a great opportunity for the players that are staying to shine and maybe get more minutes.
Well deserved. I think Lynn has been, like, of course, waiting to be back on the field. So I'm just happy for her to be able to get the time go off to Paris, of course. And knowing her and knowing her character, despite being a reserve, I know she's going to be there supporting the team and fulfill the role that is expected of hers.
Yeah, an absolute leader. And let's go Gotham national team. Ruby, any stats of the game?
Last game was crazy. So my stat of the game for this game is no yellow cards for Gotham in this game. Or red.
That is interesting.
For me, I thought it was like interesting that, all those corners, of course, that we kind of highlighted 8-3. Of course, indicative of like an attacking edge, but the conversion, that's where we need to be able to, take advantage of set pieces, I think would help out a lot.
Agreed. And speaking of that, we had Seattle had 31 clearances to Gotham's 8. So we were in their end most of the time. It was one-way traffic. And hero of the match, it was Berger versus Lavelle, essentially. 45% for Berger and 40% for Lavelle. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree, especially if, that save where the ball hit the post. And then Berger quickly got up to make that save because it was kicked again. I think that was incredible. She got it it's about to cross the line, but she really did her job there. So Berger for me. What about you, Noela?
Absolutely agree. 100%. This, I think, was no question because she keeps the game without even realizing, of course, right? Because the 1-1 comes on later, but essentially saves a point for this team.
Yeah, she held onto that ball for like a minute.
Yeah, she was kissing the ball. I was watching the game in Spanish yesterday, and then the announcers were like, "Oh, she needs to take that ball home. She's gonna make that ball her pet. Take her out." I was like, "Oh my god, Spanish people are so much."
Yeah, it's Berger. It's definitely Berger. All right, so league news. This one we haven't done in a while, and it stinks that we have to do this again. But there is an issue going on over in San Diego that we need to talk about real quickly. Brittany Alvarado, who's a camera person for The Wave at one point, she had resigned. Then she got a really nasty email calling her pathetic and that she had no sense of work ethics or integrity. Just from an official account at the Wave is just unacceptable from any. It's at any position, any company, anywhere. Those type of sentiments and emails are just, they reflect poorly on the entire organization, and it seems to be a culture over there at San Diego. And San Diego, to be fair, has released their post saying that they say it is unfounded, categorically false, and especially the ones that are directed at the president, Jill Ellis. And San Diego is currently reviewing the situation and intends to pursue all legal avenues available to appropriately address this matter. Any initial thoughts, Ruby or Noela?
First of all, that is just wrong. Like, it's so wrong. I feel like they're trying to scare her off to make her stay quiet. And I cannot imagine, the courage that it took to just put that out there and talk her truth and let everyone know what is going on in this club. And now we have the Wave with this statement, kind of just saying like, you're just a freaking liar, like you're just lying. And there has been other players that have come out and said that Jill Ellis is toxic, and we know one of those players is Sydney LaRue. And I believe her, and I believe Brittany, and I believe is wrong for anyone that like is trying to create this toxic environment in the workplace. Like, emailing you from an official account from the club, that is just ridiculous. That is crazy. Like, how are you doing this? And I'm honestly so proud of Brittany for doing this, and I'm so proud that she chose her mental health over the job, because it's so hard to get into like sports because it's a male dominated, area. You would think that, being in women's soccer would be a little different, but it looks like it's really not, because it's mainly controlled by men. So I'm really proud for Brittany for talking and speaking her truth, and I think we're all behind her.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It was just disgusting to have to, like, reading, of course, like this, the context in which like this was sent, and it was unfortunate to have to like, I can't even imagine like going into a workplace that you've worked
Yeah.
so hard to like, and she's earned this, right? Like, and I think that's what she was saying, that it was her dream job, that she was
Yeah.
super excited to work with them, that she's had like so much experience, that she wants to work with the NWSL, like she likes covering the team, and then have to be put in the situation where you were being like so horribly mistreated and be a
Yeah.
part of like such a, I can't imagine like what she had to go through, what she's gone through, even like persistently till now, right? Because even after leaving, like she receives this email, which is ridiculous. So I don't know. I think San Diego should do better and have to come up with like a better, because just flat out denying it and saying, we're going to take this, like pursue legal options, just, it doesn't make any sense, right? Like
Mhm.
why? For, you have to explain what this situation is, especially if multiple people. And I think there was another former employee who had also like had commented
Yes.
underneath the post, right, confirming like her own experiences, which were just as unfortunate. So it's just a really disgusting and sad situation that she's in.
Yeah, to your point, Ruby, as a communications major, as I look at this statement from San Diego, it is very much on the offensive, and it is a little bit over the top as far as the language of
Yes.
exploring legal matters and stuff like that. So it feels a little bit too aggressive, and also the little line about like, especially the ones directed at Jill Ellis, that kind of feels like came from Jill Ellis. So it seems to be, again, the culture over there as well. And it takes a lot, as you both said, that to come out and say these things and speak your truth. And you always feel like you're the only one that's going through this. And then to see her story backed up by other people who've had similar experiences is rough to go to see. And then, one of the statements was that 30 employees had quit San Diego and 75% of them are women. So there's definitely questions about the culture that is going on over there. And it's not that we knew this ahead of time, but her name was threaded through the Sally Yates report as being a part of all that. And so when she was hired over at San Diego, wasn't just San Diego fans. It was pretty much fans of the entire league were talking about our disappointment for hiring her, given the questions that surrounded her culture at the U.S. Women's National Team from the actual players themselves. So it's not like, it's not like saying we told you so, but it feels like it was a culture at the U.S. Women's National Team, and now it's a culture at San Diego, and it just doesn't seem to be. It seems like the league has brushed another thing under the table, which stinks.
Yeah,
And I hope they investigate it from the league. Don't let San Diego do it themselves, as we learned.
yeah,
And I hope that it gets resolved.
I know. And it kind of feels like San Diego was gaslighting Brittany with that statement.
Mm-hmm.
Like, kind of feels like, like she's crazy, but
Right.
she's not,
No, not when so many people back up her story and their own ways. It's frustrating. And it stinks that we are, in this spot again. We're hoping to be past all this, but just as a collective, us three, we're disgusted with the allegations against the Wave, and the three of us and this podcast has always been an advocate for change, and we would definitely stand for creators like Brittany in a sport where everyone is treated fairly. And just again, we urge the league to do a comprehensive investigation. And now, anything else before we move on?
No, just basically to believe players, believe creators, believe women, and because this is serious. So it's just I really hope they, like you said, that the league takes charge in terms of the investigation and doesn't try and move on or push it aside.
All right, let's jump over to some standings. KC Current and Orlando remain unbeaten. Then underneath them is Washington Spirit and Gotham FC, and the Portland Thorns make out the top 5. Then you got a mid-table of North Carolina, Chicago Bay, and Racing. And then below them, the Wave, Angel City, Houston Dash, and then the bottom feeders are Seattle Reign and Utah Royals. Any thoughts on the standings as we see them?
So, hasn't really changed much in a couple of weeks. We still see KC to Orlando dominating out there. Washington number 3, Gotham number 4. The Royals coach just got fired, Amy Rodriguez. I don't know how I feel about that because I feel like they didn't even give her a full season to like fix it. Then San Diego number 10, another club without a coach right now. And it, like we just talked about what's going on in San Diego right now. So tough one for San Diego there.
On the Gotham side, though, I think this coming game against Angel City is super important because if they do want to compete for the Shield title, it's like they have to close that gap or maintain it as close as possible. It'll be tough because I think with the way the Current and the Pride have been playing, 0 losses, to trip them up and catch up will be tough. But it's not impossible, especially not in this league because so many teams can just show up one day and really compete. But this next game is super, super critical for Gotham to just stay in that running.
Yeah, I agree with you about the gap there between Washington and Gotham. When I saw that Washington lost, I was like, this is Gotham's opportunity to get those 3 points and get closer, but it just didn't happen. At least we got 1 point, I guess.
We're one step closer to our points total from last season. We are 3 points away, which is pretty crazy. And then we got Angel City at 10 p.m. They're getting us back for our 1 p.m. game. Or was it 12 p.m. game? 12 p.m. game against them. So we got to stay up past midnight.
Oh, man. When is this again?
10 o'clock
Saturday.
at night.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's not bad.
Not a work day.
Yeah.
That's true. It's going to be on Ion, and Gotham is slowly creeping up. We are 8th in goals scored per match, unbeaten in our last 4 road games. And Gotham is also leading the league in fouls per match, which is something. And only one team has more yellow cards than Gotham, and that is Angel City. So it should be a fun, physical game as always. And hashtag once Gotham Becky Tweed is, I'd say, definitely on the hot seat at this point.
Yeah.
Sitting in 11th place. They haven't scored in 2 matches and 11th in goals scored per match. Your thoughts on this matchup?
Definitely all eyes on Becky Tweed right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had said a couple episodes ago, she did so great when she took over from Freya. And now she was supposed to get her fresh start beginning of the season, and she's not doing so great. But as we know, Gotham has been superior to Angel City. I think Angel City is going through a rough patch right now, and Gotham needs to take advantage of that. We're also losing 6 players, so that's not good for us. I think in this game, like I mentioned earlier, Stengel hasn't been able to score. I feel like Stengel needs to step up right now and start scoring. Gotham needs a little more physicality. They need to be fast. They need to have strength out there, stamina, and I believe a little more tactical, be able to like read the game, anticipate play with Angel City.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a similar match to the one versus Seattle, just in terms of like the desperation of Angel City to have to come out and produce a win. Like they're playing at home, and at least that stadium always seems like such a fun like place to like play. Like the crowd, the fans are so awesome. So I think they're gonna come out hungry. They're gonna come out with like a lot of intensity, and Gotham just has to match it and play their game, play to their abilities, and I think they should be good. But it depends on again what Jenna had said in the post game conference interview, right? Like playing the consistent 90 minutes.
Yeah, I agree with all that. And I think, as you pointed out, Noela, they're going to have to come out and play. And Gotham usually does well using a team's momentum against them. And they have to come out. We're going to press. We're going to turn them over. We're going to go for the goal. So I think this is a good matchup for Gotham. And we got a big game this weekend. The 2 undefeated teams are going against each other, Orlando and KC. Just any quick thoughts on that matchup?
I'm so excited to see this game.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was excited to see Gotham play against KC or Orlando, but I actually am more excited to see these 2 teams like go at each other. As we know, they're undefeated, so no losses. And I mentioned this on Twitter, but I feel like if this game ends in a draw, I'm going to be so disappointed. Like, I need one to win. And if I have to choose a team, I think I'm going to choose Orlando.
Ooh. Is there a reason why?
I lived in Florida.
Okay.
There you go.
That's funny. Yeah,
Who do you got, Noela?
it's tough. I mean, Kansas City, like, it's just so cool to see how impressive these teams are. Like, longest regular season unbeaten run, right? And NWSL history. Orlando tied for second, I think, for longest streak with 16. So I don't even know. I don't. It's gonna be a definitely can't watch. I think there's something about like home field advantage. I think that helps out. I think with some teams, and especially like a game like this, where I'm expecting it to be a full crowd. Like I hope it is, and that people are out and excited. I would say KC, maybe just because of the home field advantage. But it's gonna be. It better not end in a tie. I don't think it will, but I'm with you on that.
I mean, it could work out if it's a tie. That's like
For Gotham, yeah.
Yeah, it might work out for
course.
Gotham that way. I'm friends with both of the fan bases and the supporter groups, so I have to watch what I say here. But I'm going to say everyone's going to hate me for this, but like I'm still not sold on KC. Maybe they could prove it to me this week, but they have not played a single top 5 team or top 4 outside of themselves. Except for us early in the season, I thought we handled them pretty well.
Yeah.
I think it was one of those games where it just got away from us a little bit, but
Yeah.
they have not played Washington. They had not played Orlando yet. So I think, yeah, so I this is going to tell you if they're for real or not, this game. But right now, I think Orlando is probably the more dangerous team. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it should be a lot of goals and it should be a lot of fun. But what are we manifesting this week?
So what I'm manifesting for this week is 3 points. We need 3 points and a goal from Stengel. Why not?
There you go. Noela, what we got?
A win, of course, but also just multiple goals. I think there's been a lot of games where we've kind of been stuck at like the 1 goal difference, 1, 2, 3 goals. I think that if you can produce a convincing enough win against a team that like you should put away, then that will be great momentum for the especially with like the girls that are leaving, like the women that are leaving to just like set the tone for the ones who are staying.
Yeah, hopefully they learn their lesson last game and put this team away. And I'm just manifesting the win. Make it simple. Let's go into this break on a high, and get a little closer to the Shield. Any random thoughts before we head out?
Not really a break because we're gonna have other games going on. Chelsea, Chivas, the Summer Cup going on right now. We'll see how that goes. Exciting. But random thoughts. What is my random thought of today? I don't think I have a random thought. Do you, Noela?
No, just preoccupied with the summer of soccer. So soccer all around.
True. All right. So let's get to my interview with Jenna, shall we?
Let's go.
All right. See you all in Angel City. Our next guest fans took the league by storm. I mean, what a year and a half this player had. NWSL Rookie of the Year, NWSL Champion, U.S. Women's National Team Debutant. Take a ride with me as we get to know not only the player, but the person behind the player. I am here with fan favorite and rising star Jenna Nighswonger. Welcome to the show, Jenna.
Hi, Gary. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, you've taken this league by storm, but your path is like so interesting, from like entering the draft at the last minute to switching positions on your way to like Rookie of the Year, national team, all those things. So it's been a real like meteoric rise. So the reason we do these interviews is the fans get to see who you are more as a person, what you've done off the field as well as on the field. So I'm just really glad to do this with you.
Thanks. Yeah.
So we're going to jump in some real quick rapid fire questions just for fun. And so what are you nerdy about outside of soccer?
I just like to read. I don't think I'm reading like incredibly nerdy books, but okay. I really like to read.
What are you reading now?
I'm reading Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez.
Okay. How's that so far?
Really good. Yeah, I've read like a couple of her other books. I usually try to like for the most part, I stick to like the same authors. Once I read one of their books, I'm like, okay, I have to read all of them now. So
yeah. That's good. And so now that you're here in New Jersey, coming from California, like, do you feel like you're more New Jersey or New York now?
I think I'm definitely New Jersey more than New York. I don't really go. I'm not much of like a city person. Mm-hmm. I think now, like last year, I went to the lake a lot in New Jersey, and now I've discovered how nice the beaches are in New Jersey. So I really liked going there, and I think that's definitely how I prefer to spend my off day, because I think I'm used to it, like coming from California.
True. What's your beach of choice?
At the moment, it's Asbury Park, but I think when I have time off, I want to explore other beaches like Long Beach Island.
Yeah.
I recently found out that my grandma used to go to Wildwood when she was younger in New Jersey, so I think that would be really fun, like to go there and talk to my grandma and like FaceTime her and show her how much it's changed and like what's the same.
Absolutely. And now it is the summer, so there's a lot of summer new music coming out. We got Beyonce with Shakira. We got The Warning new album out. What do you listen to right now?
Well, Gracie Abrams just came out with an album, and then so I like listening to her. Tate McRae, I love her. Sabrina Carpenter, just love girl pop.
What vibe are you going into a soccer match? Are you hyped? Are you like zen? Are you like even keeled? What is it for you?
I think hype. I just like singing songs where I know the words, so then I can like get more hyped up. Like I think if I'm listening to music, I don't know any of the words, it's hard for me to kind of like get in a super good mood and get hyped up.
Okay. What movie have you seen or show have you seen too many times?
I would say New Girl.
Okay. Who else said New Girl? I think it was Sinead said New Girl as well. So both of you guys have something in common.
Yeah.
Good. So 4th of July is tomorrow. So fireworks, yes or no?
No, we'll be on the plane. So maybe we'll see some in the air, which would be kind of cool. Mm-hmm. But probably not.
Yeah. Do you generally go if you had time?
I think growing up like in California, in Huntington Beach, 4th of July was like a huge parade. So we would usually, and then like in my cul-de-sac, we would like our neighbors would light fireworks and we'd watch them there, which was always fun.
Very good. All right, so let's go talk about some soccer. So congrats on all the success so far. Rookie of the Year, NWSL champion, Gold Cup, She Believes Cup, and it goes on and on. So let's talk about how you got there. So first, growing up in Huntington Beach, California, did you come from like a soccer family? Like, what was it like growing up playing soccer in Huntington Beach?
I don't think I came from a soccer family. My dad played for fun, but never anything organized. My mom never played. But my dad really liked watching soccer. So he put my older sister and I in. And I think I liked playing because my sister liked playing when she was younger. And then I think she lost interest, but I obviously like gained a passion for it. And I think growing up in Southern California, there's a lot of people and soccer's a big sport there, and I think I'm really fortunate to have like grown up there because it's so competitive, and I think that's helped me so much in growing my soccer abilities.
All right, so soccer gives everybody something, like an outlet where it's a safe space. Or so what did soccer give to you growing up?
I think it just gave me a lot of joy. I think growing up, soccer was something that I just had so much fun doing, whether it was futsal, playing one touch, one kick with like my neighbors, playing in the park with my best friend. I think when I wanted to have fun growing up, I would play soccer. And I think that's really like what it was for me. It always just brought me so much joy.
And still brings you joy every day?
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's grown to be like a lot more, and I'm a lot more competitive now and stuff. But I always think like I always just want to have fun playing soccer.
Yeah. And like, so what does it motivate you today? Like what motivates you now to continue to grow as a soccer player?
I think I'm just someone that I always expect a lot for myself. And I want to be like the best left back in the world. So I think that's something I know I have many things that I need to work on. And I think that inspires me to just show up every day and get better. And I think being at this club is so nice because everyone is so good and there's so much competition that my teammates are also pushing me to be better every day as well. It doesn't have to just come from me.
Yeah, indeed. And so you've won titles, I mean, pretty much at every level growing up. And then you're highly touted, go to Florida State. So why'd you choose Florida State?
When I first visited Florida State, I think I was a sophomore or junior, and they had just won the national championship 2014. And I was kind of blown away by what they were doing to help their players with the film they were doing, their recovery, and what they had. And obviously, the level of coaching was just so high. Going to college, obviously, I really wanted an education and like a degree, but it was also, most importantly for me, just a way to get better and get to the next level. And I think that going to Florida State, I gave myself the best chance to improve the most. So I think for me, it was like a no-brainer to go to Florida State.
And with you say your family is not much of a soccer family just growing up. So how did they feel about your career choice of wanting to go pro soccer?
I think they were always like so supportive. I mean, my dad was, I think while he wasn't a soccer player, he was a soccer watcher, if that's a word. Yeah. But I think it started like maybe in the 90s. So I think we kind of like grew the passion together. Like he always tells me, like reminds me in elementary school, he would like take me out of school so we could watch Champions League, which I think is like such a fun memory that we have together. And I think that helped like build our relationship so much. But no, I kind of knew from a young age that I wanted to be a professional soccer player. And my mom always jokes, she was like, yeah, okay. Like we kind of went along with it, like not really knowing where it was going. Cause I was like, oh, I'm going to play for Manchester United, like the men's team. And they were like, okay, sure thing. And then as I got older, like I realized, yeah, I'm going to play for the women's teams. But they were like so supportive and like they really just did everything that they could to help me improve. And I'm just like so grateful for everything they did.
Yeah. And, you know, obviously you talked about Manchester United. I mean, you were like a last minute draft selection. You jumped into the draft at the last minute. You were called like a bracket buster because you were the top draft pick, but jumping at the last minute. Were you planning on going overseas or were you staying another year? What was the thought process?
I wanted to go overseas, and then I kind of like thought about it. I talked to my agent and I was like, oh, I actually could go into the NWSL and like I could go pretty high. And it was kind of an opportunity that I didn't want to pass up because this league is so good.
Yeah. And speaking of your coach from Florida State, we reached out to him like when you first were signed for Gotham to learn a bit more about you. And this was his quote about you. He says, Jenna's soccer brain is terrific. Her ability to deliver both a final pass and an accurate set piece differentiated for Jenna showed her leadership skills this fall, helped to guide our team through a challenging transition. Managing her team while also succeeding on the field at a very high level is a testament to who she is all about. Needless to say, Jenna has a long career ahead of her. What did you take away from playing at Florida?
I think one of the greatest things about Florida State is kind of like how it is at Gotham. Like it was so competitive every day. And the things we did were just like top level. I think for better or for worse, like we were treated like a professional team there. And I think that helped so much. Just I think about where I started as a freshman going into Florida State and where I finished. And I think I just improved so dramatically. And I owe so much to like where I am right now to Florida State, and both Mark Krikorian and Brian Penske. They helped me in their own ways, and like both in very important ways. And yeah, I'm just always going to be grateful for my time at Florida State.
Let's talk about your transition to the pro. I know you say it's a pro environment there at Florida State, but it's different because you're coming from an environment where you're with your peers. Then you're walking into a locker room where you have, professional women like Ali Krieger and Kelly O'Hara. And it's just like, they're like, so like, that's what they do. They have things outside of life, outside of soccer, which is important to them as well. So it was like transitioning from college to that kind of locker room.
Yeah, I think it is a very big transition because you do go from in college, you're with your friends kind of, and you're only 4 years apart. And then you go into this environment where you have like players much more senior than you. And I think it was for me like a good transition because coming out of college, I think like the last year or so, I was like too comfortable, and you never want to be too comfortable as a player. And I think Gotham was like the best environment to come and just be uncomfortable in the best way. Obviously playing a new position that really escalated that. But yeah, coming in and playing with Ali Krieger, Kelly O'Hara, McCall, I could just like name so many people that are so experienced. Lynn, I think accelerated my learning so much. And the fact that I was so uncomfortable, and I use that in a good way, helped me so much improve. And I think honestly, like winning Rookie of the Year and everything, like it's a individual award, but there's so many people that would not have been possible getting that award without them, because I think about so many people, and so many times in training, they would go out of their way to like give me advice or things I should have done better, hype me up, that kind of thing. So that helped me like so much in my transition.
Yeah. One player that helped you in your transition, at least to winning trophies, is Gotham goalkeeping legend Neely Martin. And I asked her about you and what makes you special. And she said, she said about your accomplishments. She said, it speaks to who she is off the field. She's a top tier teammate, one of my best friends on the team. We're also proud of her here and everything she's doing for the national team. So what does that say about you? Just like, as far as like, obviously she might take it back now, because since you said your soccer ick was her ponytail, was that?
Yeah, that started long ago, before her. Started in my college.
Okay, very good. But for like, so parents and young players that are listening to this podcast, like what makes a good teammate kind of on and off the field?
I think a good teammate on the field is just someone that's encouraging, and whether that's being with like critiques or words of encouragement, and then bringing your best every day, because that's how you make yourself better and your teammates better. And it's like a very selfless thing sometimes to just give your all, even when you don't want to, for the betterment of your team. And I think off the field, just bringing good energy. I think it's a long season and there's going to be ups and downs. So it's important to just always bring your best self in any way you can help the team off the field by having good energy and good laughs and stuff like that. I think, I'm not saying I always do it, but I think that's how I would define like a good teammate off the field.
Mm-hmm. And now she said something nice about you. What can you tell us about Neely Martin?
Yeah, I think obviously, like I just described what a good teammate is off the field, and I think that pretty much embodies Neely. Like she's always funny and cheery and lighthearted, and like she brings such good energy to the group that I think she is someone that helps so much with like team chemistry. And in training, she's always working so hard, and like she's always working to get better. And I think that's something that other players look at and it motivates themselves because yeah, she's always just working hard to get better.
Yeah, and your transition, I know you transitioned well to the outside back, but I mean, what it like was like having Hadley Krieger on your right side every game, and then Kelly O'Hara to be able to learn from on your transition.
Yeah, I think it was huge for me. So important. I think too, like Kristen Edmonds as well, like helped me so much. So I don't want to like leave her out of that. But having those kind of players that are so experienced, it was so helpful. And I think having a left center back that's so experienced, it was huge for me because I was kind of lacking confidence in defending, and having her as like a rock back there was so helpful because she's so confident in what she does. Her communication is so clear. And I think now having that with like Tierna is so great as well. But having people like Allie Kruger, Kelly, Kristen in your corner is so big when you're coming in from a new place. And yeah, I don't know. I just like can't say enough great things about them and like how vital they were with my transition. I wouldn't be here without them.
Yeah. And one of those players, Kelly O'Hara, just announced her retirement. And like, what have you like learned from her and her story and just being as an elite outside back from her?
I think like she's just such a role model for me. I think on the field, like she's always just looking to get better, and she's such a great leader on the field. She brings like the intensity that the team needs and holds herself to a high standard, which helps other people hold themselves to a high standard. Yeah, I think just like her habits, her daily habits have been really important for me to learn. Like coming in as a rookie, you kind of want to like learn what more experienced players do day to day to help with like recovery and training and getting better. And I think learning from her was really important for me to like try to like be as good as her hopefully one day and learn as much as I can from her.
Yeah, and your left side mate, Lynn Williams, is a legend of the sport, and she must make your job a little bit easier. So, like, what makes you two such a great pairing?
I think there's just like so many good qualities to Lynn. It's like hard to name them all. But I mean, her off-ball movement is like so big for us as a team. And I think one of my qualities is like playing long ball. So I think having her on the field and having her as an option is always huge because she is like, she just makes such smart runs that it's pretty easy to usually find her and her speed. But also her work off the ball is so big for us and so important. And I think like everyone knows I'm going to make a mistake defensively sooner or later in the game. And I think having my back is just like big for us. And yeah, she's great in like her work off the ball as well.
Yeah, congrats to her on breaking the NWSL scoring record. She's just so consistent. And it's amazing because you look at, obviously the goals she scored, but she's always top in like recoveries and defensive actions, and she just works on both ends of the field. Now she scored her record-breaking goal. You had the pass that started that. So how does that feel to be a part of that moment?
I think Lynn having that moment, that's like so deserved, and just happy, to have like helped her with that moment, I guess.
Yeah, indeed. And then obviously with Sinead Farley retiring, what was it like playing with her this past year? Obviously her year was absolutely amazing. Just incredible storybook season. What was it like working with her?
Sinead is just like one of the most amazing people I've ever met, truthfully. Mm-hmm. On the field, there's just like so many good qualities to her, like the way she plays. I think she's just so fun to watch, and she's so smooth in the way she plays. Like she's always smiling, she's having fun, and she's also like a hard worker, and like she'll get into slide tackles as well. But I think off the field, is like where she really, I guess, like shines. Like her personality is just so nice. She's the sweetest human being you'll ever meet. And I think we both came to Gotham at the same time, and she was just someone like I could always go to if I wanted to talk about like anything in regards to soccer and like my transition. And if I was like finding it hard, she was just always someone that would listen to me and give me like the most amazing advice. And I think we definitely miss her on the field, but I think I miss her like most just being around because she's such a light to everyone. She's like a ray of sunshine, and you miss like her presence in the locker room and at training and everything because she's such a good person.
Winning a championship for the first time, Sinead, Mana, Ali Krieger winning their first championship was like being a part of that, that moment.
Yeah, I think like it was just incredible. It was fun just like hugging them and celebrating them after winning, and everyone just being like so happy. It's just like a memory I'm going to hold with me forever.
And that described for me the last like 3 minutes of that game, I guess, when everything was going sideways. What were you going through as far as like emotionally and all that?
I think I was just like, I honestly was like, oh my God, if they score right now. I'm like I think sometimes I'm a little bit of a pessimist. So I was like freaking out, trying to stay calm. But I think that's like in moments like that, you need like your midges and your Ali Kriegers and Ali Longs to just like take charge and like calm everyone down. Like I know Midge was acting so calm and that like calmed me down as well. And then thank God, like that we didn't get scored on. And that was just like pure joy. Oh my God.
So you've been, since you jumped into the NWSL, it's been like games, then it's been national team, then it's been Challenge Cup, then playoffs, and then championship, and then U.S. Women's National Team, and then U.S. Women's National Team camps, and then tournaments, and then back to the season. Now you got Olympics, summer. There's a summer tournament. There's a fall tournament. It's crazy the amount of workload that you have to go through. I know it's been connected to some increase of injuries. So like your thoughts on like just the workload itself and how you managing to find balance and all that?
I think just as someone that's starting out on the national team, the transition from going to club to country, truthfully, it like has been hard because I can't expect to do the same thing in training every day that I was previously when I was having more off days. So that's been a learning curve, but I think I'm just learning that I need to be honest with the training staff on how I'm feeling and understand my body and listen to my body more is really important. And I think the coaching staff is like really, they listen to me, which is really nice. Like if I need to maybe do less in training or something like that, it's great. But yeah, I think just that's like the biggest thing I've learned. But just trying to like, I think also learning that finding moments off the field to just have joy, find joy and relax is also really important. Doing things, not making my life like all about soccer is important. Like doing things like going and reading a book or hanging out with like Neely and other people on the team is really important because then you also are like mentally, I think, recovering a little bit faster.
And you're also lucky in the sense that you don't really know the NWSL personally outside of the CBA. And all the players on your team from last year, all the legends on your team that have fought for years and years and years to get it to where it needs to be, the Sineads, the Manas, the Kelly O'Haras, the Lynn Williams, all that. So what does it mean to you to be able to kind of reap the rewards from all like their hard work?
Yeah, I'm like so grateful for all their hard work. I think it's incredible how fast, all their hard work, but how fast like the league has grown even from like my time joining it. And I think when I hear them talk about like the conditions and what they used to be like well before I joined the league, obviously like I'm grateful that they changed it so then I don't have to go through it myself. Mm-hmm. But I think it also puts your life into perspective and you become so much more grateful for what they have done for me and like other players. And the league has grown so much and I'm excited for how much it's going to grow even like in the next 5 years.
Yeah. So what are you hopeful for in the next couple of years for this league?
I think just trying to get it up to like the same standards as like men's teams around the world. But I think that you are seeing like more pay and better facilities. And I think that's something that's really exciting. And I think with the investment in women's sports being more and more every year, I think you are going to see it go at like a much quicker rate. I think you're seeing like, for example, like salaries are getting higher and higher very quickly. And I think that's something that's really exciting.
Yeah. And I'll say, what are your like personal goals, like say for the rest of the season? I know you got the Olympics coming up.
When I talk about like playing for the US is just like trying to build consistency and like confidence in that environment and going for gold, of course, at the Olympics. And then back at the club, just we want to do better than we landed last year in 6th place. So just working towards that and getting as many points as we can. Like every game is so important. Working towards that. And then getting more assists and maybe a goal like here and there would be great.
Coming from a kid from Huntington Beach, California, being able to like go look over your journey and put on the U.S. women's national team jersey, how does that make you feel as far as your accomplishments and your journey so far?
I think it's just something that is so exciting, and I'm just so proud to like represent the Crest. I think growing up and watching how amazing the national team was, I think it's incredible, and like I feel so fortunate to get to play on the team. I just like can remember like watching the World Cup final and Carly Lloyd scoring that hat trick against like Japan, and just like moments like that growing up and realizing like, wow, they're so incredible and they're just so talented, and look at what they're doing in the US and also across the world, like how they're setting standards. I think to put on like the same jersey as them is just really incredible.
When do you leave?
We go to Angel City to play this weekend, and then our camp starts in New Jersey. So
get the typical send-off game, so that's exciting. Be
yeah,
back in your home arena. Very good. So good luck with all of that. So good luck this weekend against Angel City, and then good luck at the national team for the send-off games, and then for the Olympics. We're all rooting for you. Let's go, Jenna.
Okay, thanks, Gary.
You're welcome. Hi, everyone. This is Gary. Thank you for listening and supporting our project. Here are other ways you can support the show and connect with us. First, word of mouth is everything. So please share our show with anyone who might listen. Also, please rate us 5 stars on Spotify and review us on iTunes. You can purchase our merchandise at the TeePublic store. Join in the conversation on Twitter at OverGothamPod and Instagram at SoccerOverGotham. Lastly, you can email your thoughts and questions at soccerovergotham@gmail.com. Once again, thank you.